Cosatu says government must come clean about job cuts in the public sector. The Trade Union Federation isn't taking the Public Service and Administration Department's promise that there won't be mass retrenchment. The Mail and Guardian newspaper reports 30,000 people will be laid off, but the department is rubbishing those claims, calling it misleading. Cosatu's Becky and Charlie is suspicious.
We have to look at the expenditure in both ways. We're not saying we should not look at the expenditures. There are many other issues. The bloated cabinet, for an example, is one area that we have to be looking at. And the question of the blue book that we were told about other ministers buying expensive cars, renting, staying in hotel, and all those issues. The question is that why to go to the weakest? Why you go to the workers? The money that goes there in proportion to the executive, in proportion to the people who are doing management jobs, compared to the people that are really doing the work, is disproportionate and has to be looked in that particular context. You can't just look and say you're looking to the people on the streets, the real people that are doing the work. Look overall, be objective across the government sphere and have a debate. How did they arrive to 30,000? Why not 3,000? Why not 5,000? So it's a thumbsuck in our view, but worse of it is when government is denying that, no, we're not doing this kind of thing. There will be no smoke without fire. Something is brewing, but government has to come out openly to be able to engage.
Economist Azar Jamin believes job cuts in the public sector would have huge consequences.
Private sector itself has been responsible for a lot of job destruction, but that is a function of overall economic growth. And if we don't see some form of pain in the short term, we will never be able to restructure this economy in a way that it can start expanding in the longer term. Credit ratings agencies are looking at this space very, very closely, and if we are not careful, we will have further ratings downgrades, which will result in further increases in interest rates, a lower exchange rate, higher inflation, and everyone will be impoverished as a consequence.
Jamin says there's too big a wage gap between public and private sector employees.
The real problem is that remuneration has gone out of sync in the public sector compared with the private sector, and the government is not able to afford it. It's unable to raise enough taxes to cover that kind of expenditure. And unless we find a way of actually reducing the budget deficit, we're headed for more credit rating downgrades and further pain in the longer term. We also have to ask why it is that government cannot rely on a normal attrition, people just leaving their jobs to trim back the public service. From a comment I saw in the newspaper, it suggested that that is not forthcoming, so I don't know.